Hey guys, you ever been to California? Yeah, me neither. But have you been to Baja, California? You probably haven't. In fact, you probably didn't even know it existed, or that there are two states called California. But luckily for you, in this video, I'll talk about the two Californias and their similarities and differences. California is the 31st state of the Union, being created after the U.S. gained the territory from Mexico after the U.S. victory in the Mexican-American War, and was given statehood in 1850 as part of the Compromise of 1850, which made California a free state, to keep the number of free states and slave states equal in the Union. After gaining new Western territories, Baja California, on the other hand, is the 29th federal state of Mexico and was admitted as a state in 1952. But before I go further, I need to get this off my chest. I lied, because there are actually 3 Californias than 2. You see, in 1974, Baja California was split into Baja California and Baja California Sur. The Sur means south in Spanish. The reason I didn't machine this until now is because, from what I've gathered, they're basically the same, which calls into question why they were split in the first place. So for simplicity's sake, I'll just lump them together. Anyways, for the origins of Baja California, it was founded in 1697 by a judicious mission at the city of Laredo. After those kind of controversial origins, let's talk about the geography. Like its demographics, California's geography is diverse. In fact, it's one of the most diverse in the United States. This is probably due to California being so big and encompassing an area with a big array of climates, which is what happens when your state is big. The desert regions in California, which include the infamous Mojave Desert and Death Valley, are very hot, lack sufficient amounts of water, and are very dry. So basically, every desert on Earth. But interestingly, due to the Colorado River running through California's deserts, which gives it extremely fertile soil, the deserts become an important farming region for California. In the middle of California is the Valley region, which is filled with flatlands, the Sacramento and the St. Jonas rivers, and many hills. It's hot and dry in the summer, and cold and damp in the winter. The regions is also known for its farming, and California's most important crops are farmed there. On top of having deserts and grass hills, California has a mountainous region, which is filled with very high mountains. Interestingly, the snow that falls off the mountains supplies water to farms and cities. On top of the mountains are forests and rivers with lots of wildlife on it. And finally, the coasts of California, which is where the majority of the population live. And you can see this is all the big cities like San Francisco and LA on the coast. And then state capital, Sacramento, near the coast. But I mean, who can blame them? With the cool breeze giving them balance to the climate and the vast amounts of natural resources, make sense why 68% of Californians live on the coast. Wow, very diverse. Now what about the Bajas? Well, both states share the Baja California Peninsula. And even though the Baja is not as diverse as California, it's still pretty interesting. The two main mountain ranges, the Senora Jesuits and the Seri San Pedro Monterrey, forms the gigantic mountain range that stretches through both states of the peninsula, and there are mountains that isolate on the islands of the peninsula. The coastal plains of Veracruz and Margarita replaces the California's Grand Valleys for Baja California and Baja California, sir. Interestingly, in the sur, there is an area made up of rock formations made from volcanoes, which are called the volcano tablelands. By this geographic page by 3 dudes from a university in California, Riverside, which looks like it was made in the 90s. So we're getting some accurate information here. But mountains and plains don't really change that much in 20 years, so I'm sure it's fine. Like its geography, California's population is diverse and lives up to its name as being the most diverse in the Union. It's so diverse that no race has a majority, with the largest being Latinos, which make up 40% of the population. It comes to no surprise that half of the young in California are Latinos. Whites make up 35% of California's population, and the majority of them are adults at the age of 55 to 64, or just senior citizens. California has the biggest Asian population in the Union, which is the 3rd biggest ethnicity, followed by blacks, Native Americans, and other. Interestingly, Baja California and Baja California Sur are majority Meso, which are people of mixed indigenous and European descent, and they make up 75% in Baja California and 55% in the Sur. Whites come second in Baja California, making only 15% of the population. Then Asian in third make up 5% of the population in Baja California, and the rest make up another 5 in Baja California, including blacks, natives, and I would ask to put a grain of salt on those numbers, as I got them from an investment website for the state that looks like it was made in the 1990s. You know, if I had 1 nickel for every time I had to use a 90s looking website to find information for the Baja California, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird it happened twice. Anyways, in Baja California Sur, with Mexicans making up 59% of the population, leaves more rooms for whites, which make up 40% of the population, which is a big jump from the north, allegedly, 15%. 1% of the Sur population is indigenous, and 3.3% identify as black. But I don't know how that fits in the percentage, but I did get all this information from a wiki page that looks like this. To show you how big California's economy is, its GDP is bigger than Russia before UN sanctions. With its 3.6 million USD GDP, it's no wonder it is the highest state in the Union with it by GDP. The average income for a Californian is $39,812, which is enough to buy 2,843 Garfield mugs, which is cool. Well, it's also more than enough to maintain a living in California. Baja California's GDP is 1.08 million in Mexican pesos, I mean, and 53K in USD, which is less impressive. And that's what a past of economic decline does to a currency. Anyways, Baja California is ranked 7th by GDP in Mexicans Federation. If you think that's bad, Baja California, sir, is ranked 29th in the Mexico's Federation with a GDP of 261K in Mexican pesos and 13K in USD. The average income in Baja California is 6.64K in Mexican pesos, or 6,640 in USD, which can buy 474 Garfield mugs, which is still cool. Even though it's smaller than California, it's still enough to maintain a living. In the store, the average income is 5,487 in Mexican pesos, or $302 with 95 cents in USD, which no, I'm not making the same joke thrice. It's enough to make barely a living in the South. And that's the Californias compared. So I hope all of you know your Californias like your ABCs. Well, bye.